So what is spawnism? Spawnism, described by a group, states that spawnism is a religion that believes in the concept of reincarnation and respawning, believing that in order to respawn or reincarnate, you must respect the people around you, nature, and importantly yourself. The ability to reincarnate is granted to you by the spawn, who judges your actions and death through a moral viewpoint. There are two forms of the spawn, Exenis, the sun form, and Somnis, the moon form. How well represented is this definition? And today we're going to go into more depth about the spawnism cult, not only through a Discord server, but through the entirety of the internet. So we're back. We're back, and it's worse. So, a lot of you may have seen my original video regarding another user's cultist server on Discord, and yeah, I made a video about that because the things that I found in that server were disgusting, and I thought that would be the end of it, you know, because that was genuinely the only sort of cultism thing that I had seen around. But I was very wrong. So around 2 months, like just under 2 months after I made that video and uploaded it, there's been more traction going around on Twitter and Discord and things about more cultism servers. So I'm back. And especially with Creekcraft making a video and not spoiling names, everyone's starting to be harassed. And yeah, while in my original video I didn't spoiler some names, it's because only their nicknames were shown, not their usernames, to if they were being harassed, they could willingly change their nicknames and their profile pictures and no one would know who they are. But yeah, on to that, I'm just going to start the video, start showing screenshots, I guess. Of course this is going to be unscripted like my original video, since that's kind of my thing now. I just do everything unscripted. I mean, I'm kind of used to it anyway, to be honest, you know, streaming unscripted, you know, but yeah, I guess before I start showing everything and explaining everything, while I do appreciate Creekcraft making not making a video, it was part of his video about whatever Roblox, I don't know, I don't watch Creekcraft, but anyway, the part that had the spawnism in, while I appreciate speaking up about it, due to him not spoilering names or like just blatantly showing shit, everyone's just started to be harassed, including somebody in that video, I won't say who, but somebody in that video who I have had, not myself have had, but another person has had an interview with regarding the spawnism cult, and after them leaving and everything like that as well, and just the harassment is making everybody's situation worse. It's not just for, you know, the people within spawnism or whatever the fuck, it's making my life harder as well. So don't go around and harass people, and because you guys have a tendency to go around and harass people, I have had to censor every single person's name in this video. But yeah, other than that, I will try and keep as much uncensored as possible. With that being said, after that rant, I'm just going to start straight on to showing everything that I have. So, I wanted to start off with this image. This image is from this person that I believe a person named Imperfect did a tweet about, and this person, they were like protesting and whatever the fuck, saying like, you know, you don't understand or whatever, and then Imperfect took a screenshot of this profile, calling them a slur that I can't say. If you look down at the bottom, they have named themselves as #1 cool kid rapist, which is the first thing I want to talk about. So, ever since I have made my first video, there has seemed to be an increase in adults in the spawnism cult, which 1, no, 2, whatever, but, you know, you're an adult, do whatever if you like, don't give a fuck. But, this next image will, explain why they've joined. So there's a couple of headers which I didn't know the meaning of until I was told. So on these so-called parablinkies, one of them says feeling zooey, which I believe that is for zoophiles. Another one says love a graveyard, which I believe is for necrophiliacs. And the Great with Kids and I Love You ones, I believe, are for map pride, which if you don't know what map pride is, it's minor loving people or minor attracted people, I think it is. Which is just disgusting. And yes, this was found within one of the many spawnism cults that have now surfaced onto Discord, Twitter, and whatever the hell other else they are. Oh yeah, and TikTok and everything like that. Yeah, so here is another screenshot. This was taken out of the, this was taken out of one of the spawnism cults, as you can tell, Discord. And in the staff intros, these two people, I am going to refer to them as Grey and Rose, because colours. The colours have no indication to their name, by the way, so don't go and try. But, so Grey introduces themselves as Rose's lover, you know, fine, I don't care. But they also introduce themselves as a rad queer and a pro shipper. Now, I didn't really know what rad queer meant before, but after being told, I believe rad queer means that you're accepting of every single person's identity, no matter what it is, and this also extends out to maps, necrophiliacs, zoophiles, you get the idea. It's not really great, is it, love? They also introduce themselves as a pro shipper, which, if you don't know what it means, pro shipper means that you are accepting of every single ship, whether it's normal or illegal, which is very bad. And Rose introduces themselves also as a rad queer, as a paraphile, pro shipper, and a dark shipper. A dark shipper is a person who ships illegal ships, whether that is child and adult or anything else. Now, the reason why their names are highlighted, not names, ages are highlighted, is because, back to my point, of more adults joining the spawnism cult now. Grey is 19 years old and Rose introduces themselves as 21. And what I believe is going on is that multiple adults, seeing as though a lot of children are influenced by the spawnism cult and everything like that after the traction, especially when I made my first video, they have decided to hop on the spawnism cult fiasco in an attempt to get children to do what they want, basically. And a lot of it involves cutting themselves, which is very bad. Yeah, here is another image. So this is from Grey. Grey did something very bad to themselves, and I'm going to refer to this person as Purple, and Purple responds with most wonderful. Now here is the image. The image is a blood spawn done onto paper. I'm going to try and show as much as I can, but you know, the blood and cuts and everything like that are going to be censored to some extent, but they will still be there on the stream. Stream? No. Video. Apologies, I'm a streamer, if you couldn't tell. But yeah, so there's that. On to the next thing. Of course, I have to talk about the rules and the server itself, as I did in my last video. So, I was sent a screenshot from one of the spawnism cults. One of them, saying, number 3 note, we are completely and utterly devoted to the spawn from Forsaken. Now, this is a very important detail, as the Forsaken devs have explicitly expressed that the spawn cult and the spawn itself from Forsaken is fake. It is not real, it is not a real deity at all. So they are basically worshipping something that is not real. Yeah. And another one says, leaving. You are not permitted to leave, you must stay faithful to the spawn. If you don't have the amount of devotion to stay within and believe, and for that I grant you this, the ability to leave under the circumstances you never bring up this server or its contents and cut off all your friends you have made within it. How do you genuinely believe people to not tell other people? It's human nature. Everyone's gonna want to tell each other absolutely everything. It's human nature. How do you not expect other people to talk about it even afterwards? And why do you believe they'll cut off their friends? Like, bro. Anyway, and the last one says, usernames. Do not share your Roblox usernames within the server. This is to limit the amount of people being banned from the Forsaken game, being unable to see its content without staring at a wiki page, or creating an alt account. Be smart and only share it with trusted individuals within DMs. Now, this is very important because they understand what they're doing is wrong. Otherwise, why would you go around saying to not share your usernames because you may be banned from other games and everything like that? Because what you're doing is wrong. What you're encouraging is wrong. Now, here is another screenshot. So Discord have a new feature. Now, if you wish to join a certain Discord server, they may ask you to fill out something to be able to gain access to a server. And this particular spawnism cult server have done exactly that, because there's been a lot more raiding of spawnism servers, especially after Creecraft's video on the rise. Yeah, so here is a screenshot asking when did you find it, and if you were invited by a friend, specify their username, because a lot of spawnism servers now are very strict when it comes to letting people in. They don't want to let in people that they believe may not actually worship it, or are simply there to make fun of them, harass them, or anything like that. Asking them now, what does the spawn mean to you, blah blah blah, and do you understand that this cult is real? Well, it shouldn't particularly be real, love, and stop your application now if you're uncomfortable. The server shouldn't even exist in the first place. What do you mean stop if you're uncomfortable? It shouldn't exist. Spawnism itself is, I believe it shouldn't exist. You're worshipping a PNG, and now I know a lot of people say that they simply use the PNG as a front for their religion. However, the majority of people within spawnism say that they do actually worship the PNG. And if you don't know where the PNG stems from, the PNG stems from 1990 Paint Shop Pro, which was an application that you could use to do art and everything like that, or edit things, and that is where Spawn originally came from. It was a stencil within it. But yeah. Now, on to the self-harm encouragement. So, on to the first screenshot. I'm going to refer to these people as white, dark purple, and black. So, white says TW, which is trigger warning. Self-harm, where should I cut the spawn? Purple, I assume, is responding to something else that white said. And black responds with, I'd say fiber arm if you want. Why? Don't do this to yourself, guys. Please don't. Now, I'm going to refer to these people as brown and dark grey. So, brown says, but seriously, spawn on your back? I would compliment you so many times, I'm not kidding. And black responds with, wait, I may sound insane, but what if in the future we'll be able to have a cult house? What do you think this is, a fucking hype house? And then black responds to brown's original message saying, real. Just... why? Dark grey goes on to encourage self-harm and placements by responding to this one person who I will refer to as Red. So Red says, I've got long ass arms, plus I'm good with knives, I think. And Dark Grey responds with, maybe try joining the spawn first on your back, then see how that looks, and if you're able to, do it. No, don't do it. I'll tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna give yourself a lifelong marking, and it's not the same as tattoos. Tattoos, you're able to get them removed in steps. Self-harm, once it's there forever. And unless undergoing treatment and everything like that, but, you know, even if it's not going to be there forever, it's going to be there for a long time. It takes a long time for self-harm to heal. And, you know, once it's there forever. And I know in the future you're going to regret it. So, guys, if you want markings, just get a tattoo. Don't harm yourself. And plus, you can get an infection or you can even die. So, just don't do stuff like this. It's stupid. Just don't, okay? Okay, here is another image. So, I assume that the image on the image that I'm showing has self-harm because there's a limb there. But, you know, it's up to interpretation. I assume it's self-harm. So, I'm going to refer to these people as navy, yellow, there's purple, coral, and light blue. So, navy says, ooh man, I should do that. Yellow replies with, I wish I could do that. And coral responds to dark purple's message, saying, wait, this is sick. How did you do that? I want to do it too. And light blue says, should I do this? And navy replies with, only if it's done safely. Now, kids, sit down. Let me teach you something. So, self-harm can't be done safely. It can't be done safely at all. The process of self-harm, there's no way to do it safely. You are actively harming yourself. There is no way to do it safe. It's gonna be there forever. You could gain an infection. You could die. There's no way to do it safely at all. I don't understand the thinking processes of some people. It's just, you know. Right, so here's another image from Brown saying trigger warning, self-harm, and then they say I really want to carve the symbol onto my arm, but I don't want to be judged. And dark grey responds with, I wouldn't judge you for it. Love, I would judge you. Me and the internet would judge you for it because it's not sane. I'm gonna be honest, it's not sane. Just don't do this. This is a different person, so I'm gonna refer to this person as Jet Black and this other person is dark brown. So Jet Black says, I carved the spawn onto my forearm, which the forearm is like the bit of your arm before your hand, if that makes sense. And dark brown says, will pictures be allowed censored and not fresh self-harm or not? Just want to make sure /gem, which is /genuinely. I don't really think I would send them either way though, but the fact that you've done it in the first place is... what? I don't understand why people want to do this to themselves when one, tattoos are available, and two, it's gonna stay on you for the majority of your life and you're gonna regret it. Like, stuff like this, you need to actually think about it. Because this is something that's gonna stay on you for a long time, and if not forever. Okay, so the next part of this video is going to be a load of self-harm images. They're going to be censored, but they're still there regardless. So if you don't want to look at that, skip forward to the time on my screen. With that out of the way. So here is the first image. Again, censored obviously. But the image is of the spawn logo on the person's hand, along with self-harm on their arms as well. And the blue image is of the hand, but they have put the spawn logos around it, and apparently it's blue now for some reason. And I believe that one was from Twitter, actually. Another image is of a person. They have carved the symbol of the spawn into their arm near their shoulder blade. Here is another image of a person who has carved the spawn symbol into their hand, on the back of their hand. And here is another image. This person has carved the word praise into their thigh, along with a big symbol of the spawn symbol, along with an eye, and then just random cuts everywhere else. And here is an image, another image. This is from Twitter, and there is numerous bricks, along with what I can only assume is the person's blood, with the spawnism logo, along with praise on the bricks, saying praise the spawn, reminder that the spawn loves you. No. And especially to public property as well. Cutting yourself alone is bad, but showing it off to the public as well is just why. And here is an image from TikTok actually, saying let's pray for the spawn, and the person has drawn what I assume is their OC with a load of cuts on them, which is just why. Okay, now here is a video that someone sent to me from TikTok. What this person has done is they've sacrificed what looks like a possum to the spawn, and I'm not joking, by the way. Anyway, I'm gonna play it. Genuinely, what the hell? I'm probably going to censor most of that, to be honest, because it is gross. But sacrificing animals, hurting yourself, and even other people, threatening to sacrifice other people is just vile. And someone on Twitter said, friendly reminder, it's okay to cut foul selfless spawn. No, it's not. You know, just a friendly reminder, you know, sit you down, just no, it's not okay actually. And the same person said, gonna risk cut soon, does anyone have any tips or things I should know? Please, I'm going into this blind. Just don't. And they also say, you know why I'm doing this? His pain is my pain. I don't think anybody's pain is any other people's pain, thank you, love. But just why? It isn't real. It's a PNG from 1990 Paint Shop Pro. Why are you worshipping it? I don't understand. Okay, so here is an image from a Discord server, but the original image was taken from Twitter from a person named Follycore, and this person says, this is going to be really disturbing, but I can't keep this to myself. Someone I spoke to was involved with the spawn, and when they died they drew the spawn on the wall from what I've been told by their IRL, which I can only assume is their friend or parent or somebody that they know in real life. Please discourage this cult, this has gone too far. And this person says, no, let me say something real quick. If it was a suicide, I believe it is not the fault of a decal, but actually severe untreated mental issues. So, while someone may have mental problems, if they were actively involved with the spawn, it may have genuinely contributed towards their death. So, to say that it's not the fault of the spawn, quote unquote the spawn, but actually their mental health issues, what the hell? Like, as if you don't act like you're actively encouraging people to hurt themselves and kill themselves for this thing that isn't even real. What the hell? Like, who do you even think you are? Okay, and a lot of this is going to be about death from here on out for a little while, so but yeah, so I'm going to refer to these people as Lilac, Light Grey and Blue. So Lilac says, I'm sorry, this is just how he copes. Please don't aggravate him. I've already been stabbed before, please. You've already been stabbed? What the hell? 911? Like Ray respond with, Lilac is an important member of the society and I don't fear taking that right away from him. The only thing that's going to happen to you, love, is you're going to end up in fucking jail, mate. And Blue says, oh, so thanks for the evidence to the authorities. This is not fucking funny. Change your profile picture and quit this shitty ad, or you're getting fucking banned, and I will call the police if you try to harm Lilac. You're not fucking funny. This is very immature. Which I honestly agree. Even though these people are like all spawnism, I agree. Like, it isn't funny to threaten to murder somebody. It's not funny, is it? Like, that's ending somebody's life. Like, that's it, gone, flatline. That's not funny. Honestly. And this person, I'm going to refer to them as Baby Blue. Baby Blue says, Dear Respawn, please allow me to not get yelled at or hit by my mother. If she does, I wish for your blessing to use her as a sacrifice. Excuse me? While I don't agree with abuse is very wrong. Don't get me wrong. Your blessing to use her as a sacrifice. What the fuck? I don't think you're mentally sane. Anyway, the next thing is going to be a video. This video is of the interview I was talking about earlier, actually. And I shall take screenshots and read this out to prevent the person's identity getting out because they've already been harassed. The interviewer replies with, okay, it's fine. So I'll ask some questions about the spawnism, if that's okay. All will be included in the video. I will send to your user, of course. The person replies with, you don't have to send to my username since everyone knows who it is already and it's fine, go ahead. So the interviewer starts with, okay, thanks, so how old are you? And the person replies with 14. 14 years old. It's vile. And the interviewer says, okay, how did you first come in contact with the spawnism stuff? X, a group, a post, a friend. And the person replies with, I believe I saw posts mentioning it online. Then came the encouragement from others, which sent me down to the point of carving its symbol into myself. The interviewer says, geez, okay, were they actively insisting on carving the symbol, or was it ever promoted by the spawnists? And the person replies with, they encouraged it, yes, if you carved it, you'd be praised. And the interviewer replies with, oh, what the fuck? Do you know if these people were minors too, or were they adults? The person responds with both, which again leads to my point at the beginning, saying that a lot of adults are starting to join the spawnism cult in order to groom these children into doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing in the first place. The interviewer says, what made you start questioning or doubting the spawnism before leaving? And the person replies with countless threats and people genuinely trying to reach out to me who taught me it was delusion. And the interviewer replies with a comment from the person saying, what is it being praised? And the person replies with, hold on, I will pull up some comments. So one of them says, this is so cool. Another says, that's so cool, what the heck? And the third person says, this is crazy, so cool. And the person says, way more, but I'm a bit lazy to send them all. And the interviewer says, okay, did anyone claim you could respawn or gain powers by doing certain things? And the person replied with yes, hence why I was planning to kill myself and why I dismembered a dead hare. The interviewer asks, did they say that you should do these things in the group chat, or did they DM them to you? And the person replies with DMs and now deleted comments and gimmicks. The interviewer asks, were more people sending images of cuts and rituals? And the person replies with a few, not many though. And the interviewer asks, was it hard to leave? Were there people trying to stop you or guilt you into staying? And the person replies with, yes, very much so. When I posted about doubting the spawn, I received gimmicks calling me pathetic for doubting it. And the interviewer asks, how did you feel after leaving the group? The person replies with karma. And the interviewer asks, what would you tell someone who's thinking about joining the group? And the person replies, tell them not to join, and if they refuse, I block. The fact that they were influenced into joining it in the first place and eventually did, that's just baffling to me. That's just wild. Like, these young kids that are being influenced into this is just wow and vile. So I am now going to put onto the screen for a bit an interview that me and another individual did with 3 other spawnists to ask them about their opinions about the spawnism cult and how they view it and other things like that.
What is your definition of the spawnism?
It's basically kind of like it's kind of like a spiritual framework, kind of like a religion, and it's basically like the way I would say it is like a community where you practice and you will be granted eternal life and you will be granted reincarnation. That's basically like the short summary of that.
All right. Tayatsi, what is your definition of spawnism?
For me, again, okay, can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Like Samuel said, I also think it's a great place, like a community where we all go together and we practice with each other. I think it's a great way, to have a second chance at life and what we believe in.
All right, thank you. Vax, what is your definition of spawnism?
I think she's typing.
All right, thank you.
That is a perfect definition.
Yes. Samuel, what made you join spawnism?
I joined Spawnism because I was looking for a way to like kind of feel like I fit in and find something that I care about. And in that search, I found Spawnism, and I was taught that it makes me feel like I have a chance, like I could be reincarnated, and it's kind of like safety, It makes you feel safe and it makes you feel like you're a part of something, and that's why I'm a part of Spawnism.
All right, thank you. Tayatsi, what made you join spawnism?
I feel like it's the belief of reincarnation. When I was an atheist, I was at my lowest point, and when I was told about spawnism, I felt like this would help me, and I've been the most healthiest I've ever been. And now I'm at my highest point, and I'm no longer my low self, and I don't feel like I'm scared anymore. And that's why I joined.
Thank you for your answer. Vax, what made you join spawnism, if you could go into a little bit more detail? Thank you for your answer. Yeah, that explains it well. Samuel, would you say spawnism is a cult?
I would not say Spawnism is a cult. I think Spawnism is very misrepresented currently, especially on X and other platforms. I think of it as a healthy religion where we follow what we're supposed to do. It's the same as any other religion. We follow what we're supposed to do. We are healthy. It's a religion. It's not a cult. I do not define it as such. It is.
All right.
That's my opinion.
Thank you. Tayatsi, do you think spawnism is a cult?
Absolutely not. I believe that it's a religion, and people saying that it's a cult don't really have much information.
Thank you for your answer. Vax, is spawnism a cult? Do you think it's a cult? Thank you. Have you made sacrifices before? It can be anything, Samuel. Also, like, this counts for offerings too, like, just anything.
Do you mean like, how do you mean?
It can be biological or items. So, like, blood, people, animals.
Well, I have proven myself. I have, like cut thing like before. It's just a way you're kind of like proving yourself that you're worthy to have the kind of like that power of reincarnation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tayatsi, have you ever made any sort of sacrifice before?
No, I have not. For me, when I entered spawnism, I prayed.
Alright, Vax, have you made any sacrifices of any sorts before? Thank you for your answer. How do you feel, Samuel, how do you feel about people harming themselves in the name of the spawn?
So I think that it is okay in practice, and it needs to be done circumstantially.
Thank you for your answer. Tayatsi, how do you feel about that?
I don't necessarily think that really self-harming is a great thing, because sometimes blood loss is something that you can't really heal as much as often. I'm morally the one who believes in the praying type and not really the cutting way.
Alright, thank you. Vex, how do you feel about people harming themselves in the name of the spawn? Thank you for your answer. Samuel, do you consider those people as real spawnists?
I do. I think that everybody can practice it their own way. As long as you're devoting your time or you're giving something to the spawn, it works in that way as well. And I think that that's kind of how they described it. You can practice it in your own way,
Yeah,
but the
I
way I do it
understand.
is just yeah, if that makes sense.
Tayatsi, do you think those people are real spawnists?
Of course, I believe that since they're devoted enough, and that they are, doing something that sometimes can be risky just to have somebody's approval, might be crazy enough, but they prove themselves that they want to be part of something and that they believe in something.
Thank you for your answer. Vex, do you consider people who do that real spawnists? And if not, then what are they? Alright, Samuel, how do you feel about people who are against the spawn? The whole idea of spawnism?
So people who are against the idea of spawnism honestly are just like hateful, and they're against like prosperity, and it's like people who are against it are just hating on love, basically, if that makes sense. It's not a hateful thing, you know?
Yeah. Tayatsi, how do you feel about people who are against the spawn?
I feel like it's their choice, and if they don't believe in our practices, then that's their beliefs. For example, atheists, people who believe in other religions. Spawnism is our own religion, and we have our own beliefs.
Alright, Vex, how do you feel about people who are against the spawn? Thank you.
Yeah, at the end of that interview, me and the person talked for a little bit, and we were quite surprised how cooperative they were, actually. But yeah, and some of their opinions were quite surprising to me, but some weren't, and were exactly what I expected when going in.
Look, come, let's sit right here. I'm gonna tell you. So, like, what I've heard, like, I just said, like, do you, people do self-harm? He said, yes, that's one of the process of the spawnism. I said, bro, that's not cool. My girlfriend, almost died. You listen, she died almost twice of self-harm. And, he said, well, yeah, God. He said she's practicing practicing yeah, spawnism, because she cut herself, and I rightfully crashed out on him. And I was mad. Like, I said, you need to shut the fuck up. You get a fucking life. You're such a fucking motherfucker. Look, I just crashed the fuck out of him. Nobody likes him. He also used somebody's dead aunt as an excuse. Let me like, if she would have been like, I think that's what they said. Like, she would have still lived, like rebirthed, as if she like was into spawn, like she believed in spawnism. Yeah.
Okay, so with the owner, I've been in this in May. I was in this cult for like what 2 to 3 days, and this owner allowed a self harm. So I went to go ask him like, "What's up? Why was it allowed?" You know,
Hmm.
and I've been talking to him for like a couple of like minutes, hours, and I was just telling them that it's wrong, and they didn't see that because for them it was right. And a lot of what I got from Spawn was that it's just a bunch of people, it's just a bunch of ill people doing what they thought was good because it's trauma. It's what they've been what they thought was right, and that's what I'm seeing with Spawn. A lot of Spawn servers aren't the same. I know that I'm aware that some don't promote self harm, but it makes up. I'd say like if you look at TikTok right now, I'd say a good portion of Spawn cult, uh, like gatherings. Is that what it is? Good
Probably.
bunch of people promoting. Huh? Sorry,
Huh?
what'd you say?
Oh no, I was just saying to your when you said like
Oh,
gatherings, is that the word? And I was like, probably.
oh yeah, yeah. On TikTok, it's worse because it takes a couple seconds to realize that the way how people worship these groups is by cutting themselves. And believe me, in the server, I think I already showed you the video. People do it, and it's an ugly sight.
Yeah.
There's no elaborating over that. So anyways, yeah, I told the owner that maybe we shouldn't be promoting the self harm stuff. Before I asked him that, I told him like what was the why were they into spawn code, because typically there's a whys for stuff that people do,
Mm.
and so they told me that they wanted to feel fulfilled in joining a group and or religion because that's what this is, I guess. And they told me that it was Spawn. And for me, I don't know how to feel about it because I mean, on one side, I want to be angry and I want to feel upset because this this person's oblivious to the fact that they cause people they cause people to cut themselves and harm themselves for this group. But at the same
Mm.
time, I can't get upset with it because it's what they thought they were doing right and because of trauma and what they've been growing up to. I think I have the messages. This owner has been through a bunch of religious trauma. I'm looking at it right now. They told me that they tried everything, including Satanism. Right? It's horrific.
Mm.
And and then the only group that they found their spot to be in was in Spawn Cult, which is where I'm at right now. Because I didn't know that. I already said this before, but I went into the preconception that people are just joining this group because it's hazard time, it's forsaken,
Yeah.
but then I got because I originally I made fun of it because it's stupid. There's no way people are like people are really devoted for this group, and it's like, okay, when as soon as time and time pass, I realized that it's not just about role playing, at least for this server. I know some people do it for roleplay purposes, which that's different than this group, but it doesn't change the fact that people are still getting hurt from it.
Yeah.
That's my problem with the group because some spawn cultists don't realize what they're doing is bad, and
Mm.
it makes me upset. So anyway, yeah, I told him that what they're doing is wrong, but no shit. And I told him to stop with the self harm because people are gonna get hurt, and they should realize that that's bad. I think it's kind of obvious, common sense though.
Yeah.
And then I did end up getting a self harm ban. So all the media with the self harm is not there anymore. But it's horrific seeing that, you know, the first thing that I could see when getting initiated was self harm channels, and it's crazy because the server once allowed it, and it's just wow, you know, it's
Yeah.
horrific. Uh, and that's pretty much it for the owner. Just don't I really just don't know what else I can say for Spawn. Like I have a lot that I want to say, but I'm just going through a lot of mixed feelings about it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that I don't know what to say about it. Like I know what I want to say about it. I know my true feelings for Spawn. No one's gonna change that. But for me with Spawn, it's just that I'm sad because these people don't realize what they're doing is wrong. Now, again, I know that some Spawn groups aren't like this, the ones that I was in, and I'm aware that I know that some of them are playful and like role playish, and like, and I get it. Those are different from the ones that I was in, but it doesn't change the fact that people are still getting hurt. That people are still getting hurt for groups like this.
Yeah.
TikTok doesn't know that it's bad because you know it's TikTok. I'm not gonna say that it's a TikTok problem, but it's just people are normalizing it. It will take me a couple seconds to see that people are promoting Spawn Pro. I'll do it right now. 4 seconds. Yeah, I just checked.
Yeah.
That's how long it took to find a TikTok saying it. Now it's the same person, so it's not like anything new, but it don't change the fact that anyone can see this. This is popular. It's normalized at this point. That's what makes me upset because no one realizes that it's a big problem like that.
I know I keep adding on a lot of stuff, but I need to add this on that I got sent by somebody. So I'm gonna read this out and I'm gonna put it on the screen. But it says, "Hello, I'm an ex-spawnist and I think I need to speak out alongside talk about how you all are behaving over spawnism. I'll start with how I got into spawnism. I don't have an exact date or anything. These last few months were a days to say the least. I was in a Discord server and I found there was a spawnist in the server and I was a questioning spawnist. All I heard was that they believed in reincarnation and past lives, and I had those beliefs too. So I asked them if I could add them, and they said yes. We talked about spawnism, and at the time the main server, which is no longer on Discord / maybe deleted, needed to be asked permission before a new member could join. After that I got into the server and I was overjoyed. I knew I could finally be somewhere where I didn't have to pretend to be Christian like I do around my family. I thought I found a community where I could have my own beliefs, but then things went south. For no reason, I grabbed a steak knife from the kitchen at around 3 AM one day and went to the bathroom. I turned on the shower and then I took the knife to my arm and started sawing a part of my arm basically. The knife didn't break skin to bleed somehow. I ended up finding a curved knife instead and I sharpened it and ended up cutting. There wasn't that much blood. I told my friend, who I won't state the name of, and he told me to clean it and asked me why I did it. I honestly didn't have any explanation. I had no clue why, but I do now. I didn't have the words for it back then. It was for the cult. After that, I got an addiction to doing it. I'd bring the first aid kit to my mum's room while she was at work and I'd start cutting. I honestly had a saying during this time, quote unquote, first aid kit's my best friend. And around this time, I had to go to the hospital due to something that I can't state or people who know me will find out who I am. I had to make sure my hoodie stayed on the entire time, and thankfully it did. The next day, I painted spawns onto my shoes. Around the same time, I found someone to carve the spawn into their arm, and they wanted to sacrifice their partner to quote-unquote ensure a second life. I comforted them and gave them better options, like instead of carving, to get a tattoo someday. I eventually started feeling like I wanted to carve it into my skin, but the knife I had was one where you had to quickly slice it across your arm to draw blood, so I wasn't able to do that. Eventually, my other friend got moderator in a server called For the Spawn, which was around the time the Forsaken devs got involved. He was sadly in one of the screenshots. I was afraid that my friend would end up being harassed and that he wouldn't be able to handle that. I cried due to knowing that if he'd get harassed by people, he'd end up killing himself. I left spawnism around that time and had a moment where I didn't want to say I wasn't a spawnist, but also didn't want to say that I was. That's basically all I can say about my situation. Onto a few issues I have. People keep saying things like, well, 2 times law says not to join cults. It's not that simple. Like in my situation, it had nothing to do with Forsaken. I found a stranger and ended up in the cult, which also leads to, I don't think spawnism started from Forsaken at all. Of course, the Forsaken devs got involved, but spawnism was around for longer, I believe. People are being rather rude to people who are spawnists instead of being kind and understanding. Of course, due to being a spawnist and all I went through during my time as one, I became more empathetic towards people, but everyone can try to be empathetic. It's a cult, they won't realise what's going on. Some cultists stay a lifetime while others leave and share their bad experiences, like what I'm doing now. Now, let me just pull something up. So, ever since Creecraft's video came out, partly, about the spawnism cult, again, should have censored usernames in my opinion, but nonetheless, there was a group called Spawnism Hangout, in which I have actually visited myself, and is where we got the Spawnism people from to interview. And a lot of people started to raid the server and everything like that, even getting their own anti-spawnism shirts, which I thought was wild. And after people started raiding the server, the creator built a box in the game in which people would spawn into immediately unless they would prove that they were genuinely a spawnist, in which they were pulled out. And after that, people were, the quote-unquote non-spawnists, were being jailed before they shut the game down, and then they brought it back up, and the box was gone, the jails were gone, so people started going wild to the point where the owner just left and everyone went havoc for a few hours until they made the game private. Yeah, so obviously after that video, everyone's a bit, if that makes sense. Everyone's panicking, everyone's protesting, everyone's preaching and everything like that. A lot of people were preaching Christian stuff, which doesn't make the situation better in my opinion. It doesn't make it any better. Trying to preach to them a different sort of god or whatever, that's not the way to go around it. It's not gonna work. But yeah, I mean, I guess for me that's the end of the video, but you know, I mean, if anybody else makes any sort of videos about this, all I urge is that you censor the names of everybody, censor the profile pictures, because they are gonna see it. When I made the video on the original cult, people from that cult saw it. They're gonna see it, and a lot of them actually changed after that because they realised that it was wrong, because it is wrong. And a lot of them changed and they thanked me for it. But you're giving them unnecessary harassment and everything like that if you go ahead and make a video yourself and just include everybody's names and profile pictures and willy-nilly. But yeah, so also one honourable mention to somebody actually after my original video came out a couple of days ago from when I released it, saying, "Real, I also just finished watching the exposing video instead of skimming through it. Proud to say I was not mentioned. Now you are." But yeah, that's the end. If you're interested in my content, I'm active on Twitch and Discord, so be sure to join my Discord server if you are interested. Or go ahead and follow my Twitch, I'm pretty active. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. Don't go around and harass people, because that's not good. And if there's more about the spawnism cult, I'll be sure to make another video. But yeah, that's it. So, bye.